Cummings,
Here. Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Our first item on this agenda is discuss and make a recommendation to the full Board of Education on the purchase of the Norris Lake Sports Complex. Discussion is open to committee members.
Sure. I did have an opportunity to go look at the building. Very nice building. Lot of space. There is no way we could possibly build a building for that price. It would be a good investment. But, you know, the amount of feedback I've gotten from the public, and the majority of the people want it on campus, it's just, you know, what everybody's gonna want on that. So, you know, it is a good building. So I did go look at it. It's a well-built building, so.
Anybody else? Open for discussion to board members. Director, do you have anything?
Well, I would like to say also that it is a very nice building. It's a wonderful thing that our community has something like that. I really wish that it had taken off and been a success and been used more by the community. But I will also say that when we look at a facility, it is inspected by Homeland Security. So I'm giving facts. As nice as the building is, school buildings and anything used for the school system has to follow guidelines by Homeland Security. So I'm going to read some of those guidelines that were addressed for the exterior. We did not go inside, but they did do an outdoor, just a quick assessment based on what they do at every single school site. And I want to be totally transparent with everyone so you would know what to anticipate if you decided to go that direction. It would have to be wired with internet and our camera system to be compatible with what we have in the school system. We would have to look at the lawn care, is the sprinkler system in compliance with what would be required by the fire marshal and the school system? Is it up to ADA compliance for the school system? And the area is not fenced in, so we would have to have a fence, we would have to have ballards in front of the doors. They'd check the building to see the camera placement. It would have to have outdoor cameras added and additional lighting added in the parking lot. And locks put on the exterior electrical disconnects and the water. So that is just on the exterior. So I don't know what the cost of that would be. That would just be additional costs that the school system would incur. So I just wanted you all to know that in advance, in full transparency, because whether we do the assessment now or later, it still has to be done, and I don't want you to be blindsided by that.
Thank you, Director. If no one has anything else, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we recommend not purchasing the Norris Lake Sports Complex in full.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Y'all can call the roll.
Yes, sir. Cummings,
And this is to not?
to not purchase it.
Yes.
Correct.
Lester,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, on to item 2 of this, discuss and make a recommendation to the full Board of Education to resume the auxiliary gym project with architects Weeks, Ambrose, McDonald, Inc. Open for discussion to the committee.
Mr. Chairman, one thing that I have to say is I would actually like to yield to Director Fields, not to put you on the spot, Director, but one thing that I've heard from constituents in the public is the concern about spending money when we have had budgetary cuts. Can you explain just to the general public how those are essentially two different pots of money that we're looking at here?
The money that we spend for teachers are what we receive from state and federal funds. Those are recurring funds. So the money that was set aside for the original sports complex was one-time funding. We could vote to use that for something else, but after it's gone, it's not recurring. It's still going to leave us in the situation we were before we set that money aside to use it for a capital project. And we're still looking at potential budget cuts because what we're cutting the budget for is due to a lack of enrollment. We've lost approximately 30 students to vouchers, several to homeschool. The test that we use to help norm our or to help place our students in some of those unique learner, or identify them under certain unique learner needs that generate money, the test has been renormed. So the students who had originally been scoring in the 10th percentile are now scoring in the 30th and 40th percentile based on this renorming. So that is going to equal a reduction in funding. And then this is the last year of our teacher equity raise. So we're looking at, again, a significant amount of money for teacher raises.
And what I've told constituents, and please correct me if you feel like I'm wrong or misspeaking, is it's almost like their paycheck. You know, and if I've got a paycheck and I bring in $1,000 a week pay, and my bills are $1,100 a week, I may have to cut that insurance, or, you know, cut my TV subscription or my Netflix or my Hulu to make those things balance. That doesn't change the fact that I may have X in savings. And while you can pull from savings for so long, at some point you're going to deplete that as well. One thing I do have a question about the budget. I was under the impression with the vouchers director that we had essentially a hold harmless and they would not be able to reduce our level of funding.
And that is true, but I will also say, you know, to be on the safe side, we all know that a government cannot fund two education systems, and their money is going to run out at some time too. So I don't know when that is, and we saw that with the federal money this year when they froze that due to a review. We don't know how that's going to turn out, and several school systems funded teachers with the federal funding that was frozen, and in Knox County that equaled 1,000 jobs. And fortunately, we did not face that because we did not have those positions in that part of our federal title funding. But we do fund some positions in other parts of title that could be frozen. So fortunately, we were safe in that situation and the money was released, but we can't guarantee that that's going to happen next year.
Chairman Miller, you had sent out some information from the finance department, just talking about our fund balance, et cetera, and we're at
Little over $9 million.
Little over $9 million. The required that we're made to have by the state is
About $2 million.
about $2 million. So I think the public needs to know that, in my opinion, this Board of Education is being very good stewards of their funds. You know, we have roughly 4 times the amount in savings that we truly are required to have. And I think that's good fiscal conservativeness on behalf of this Board of Education. At the same time, I do think we need to make an investment in our students. At the same time, this Board of Education, before I had the opportunity to serve, made a commitment to our students at Campbell County High School that we would invest in a complex. And I think we should hold to our word. If this Board of Education says that we're going to do something, it's my belief that we need to honor that. Because if not, how do we ever expect to have any trust from the public? I think this is a great project. I think it's going to help us retain students. I think more than that, it's going to give us an opportunity to expand, to have opportunities for the bands to practice, to host career fairs in more unique ways. I think it's going to give us an opportunity to have the cheerleaders in place to practice and all the sports teams. And Mr. Faust can attest that what percentage of students at Campbell County High School are involved in an extracurricular, like a sports program or band that would benefit from this? Roughly 80%?
We have about, 350, almost 400 student athletes. But on top of that, you're looking at, we have ASVAB tests, we have ACT tests, we have EOC tests. That building would be, again, they'll have to have internet and those things too, but, that building will be access to just that. So it's not just athletics. And we have students that, would love to do some weightlifting and do some classes like that. And at this point right now, all we're, I mean, like I say, all we got is a, you know, football weight room. So that would give them an opportunity to do some healthy things, and, you know, our PE classes could use it, volleyball, so all sports, and, you know, Ryan and Olivia can talk to you a little, I mean, I know they did last time a little bit about scheduling. I mean, you know, this weekend we had Little League football up there, we had a car show, we had a media day for girls basketball, we had, you know, some softball stuff going on, FFA, we're doing some things, so it's always, we need space, and we need to build it.
I will also say, one of the things, when they have the career fair or a college career fair, anything that they have in the gym, that's where they have it, is in the gym, and the students who are participating in gym just have to sit on the bleachers for the day. So this would give them an extra classroom where they could go ahead and continue the regular PE program.
I think students deserve it. I think Campbell County High School deserves this facility. Again, this Board of Education promised this several years ago, before I even started serving. I think we need to honor our commitments as a board, and I think that we need to move forward with this project. It's going to impact not just the student athletes, but every student at Campbell County High School, which is the largest school in our system. It's going to impact every student. Every student during their 4 years is going to use this facility for some way, and maybe it's practicing the next band competition, maybe it's the soccer team practicing, maybe it's baseball, maybe it's a career fair. This is going to impact every single student, not just student athletes, and I think it's something that we need, and it's something that those students deserve. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a recommendation, or I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to the full board that we resume this project.
Mr. Chairman, can I chime in 1 minute?
Yeah, I'll yield.
I sent y'all information yesterday from the architect. The new cost estimate, you know, it's fluctuated from like 1.6 to 2 million. But the latest estimate back in July 30th was 1,882,000. And they feel like that the economy, there's more competitiveness amongst contractors right now. So that could even improve once it goes out to bid, if it goes out to bid. One thing that, you know, I made note of is we've already spent $62,000 with the architect on this project. It's a lot of money just to throw away. And then survey fees is also in there. 7 board members have done voted to do this. And 3 are new, and 2 of you, or all 3 of you are here tonight. So I think that it needs to go before the full board for consideration. All 10 members need to vote on it. And that's what my thinking is at this moment in time.
And Mr. Miller, you know, if we put it out to bid and we find out all of a sudden this is going to cost $1 million more than we anticipate, then, you know, we're going to have to back up and reevaluate, right? So we're operating under the assumption that we're still going to be able to get this facility built in the way that our students need it to be built, in the same way that we can afford it. So again, my motion, Mr. Chairman, is on the floor. I'd like to make a motion that we recommend resuming the auxiliary gym project to the full board.
And if I may, before we go
Yes, sir.
to a second, does any other committee discussion? Any other board member discussion? I think sports complex would be a great thing for the kids. I think it was, you know, serve them well. I'm not going to support this after we did these budget cuts. You know, people went home, this affected students, teachers, and parents, and I don't think now it's really a time to have kind of a luxury purchase. There's people in this room that their lives have been affected by those budget deficits. Sorry, all 5 districts felt that. So I just wanted to say that I do not plan to support that, and I want to listen to my constituents, and I would also like to see maybe some additional support staff versus architecture or structure. But go ahead.
So, Mr. Chairman, your recommendation would be to tap into our fund balance to fund positions? Because you voted against doing that at the last budget cycle.
Absolutely not, but if you have an abundance of money, I think that underfunded classrooms would take priority over any kind of rec center.
It's reoccurring.
May I speak? I just want to say that we moved to this community 2 years ago. We gave up our life for 20 years because we believe in this county. My daughter plays basketball. So to say that this is something that they don't need right now because of budget cuts, that is so unfair to these kids who have worked so hard for this community and for that high school. It's not, their lives don't stop after practice. They go to training, they do whatever it is they have to do to be productive. And I just think that that is just wrong for these kids if you don't stand up and start it now, because it's already been put off for 2 years. How much longer are these kids gonna have to wait to have something to be proud of? We're a 5A school, and we need to show that we are a 5A school.
Thank you for your feedback.
I'll retract my motion, Mr. Chairman, so that we can have more discussion. I apologize, I probably got a little
Thank you, sir.
trigger happy.
I'd just like to say, you know, I'm for the sports complex. You know, I was for it from the very beginning. I think it's a great thought, and it's gonna be utilized so much by our community, and, you know, I'm 100% support of it. You know, the sport complex across the street, I was in support of that as well. Just from an expense standpoint, I understand it had some challenges in some other ways, but completely supported that thought as well. I just want our children to have a sport complex. So I want to be clear to everyone that I'm in full support of moving forward with this project. And I appreciate this committee and hope that we can take those steps. I know we have the money to do it, and I understand that there are conflicts in the community as far as views being viewed negatively in some ways because of funding. But, you know, this is not the same type of funding. I voted no for everything as far as the budget went, just because I didn't like the budget in general. I didn't like the cuts. I didn't like, you know, some of the areas where we had to cut. I don't want to cut it all, but we said we were going to build this complex, and I appreciate everyone considering that we move forward.
And just so people aren't confused in the public, fund balance is very strongly discouraged by the state to be used as a recurring expense. Okay, so this fund, the funds that we're using was from last year's budget that was set aside before any of that happened. Okay, recurring funds should not be used. One-time expenditure funds, fund balance should not be used for recurring expenses. You should not become reliant on your fund balance for recurring expenses.
And you
It's
can
two
only
different.
use it one
Yeah, you
time
can
for
only
a
use it one
recurring
time.
expense.
So, you know, to say, that's the big misconception in the public is, you know, and it does look bad when you know, having to make cutbacks. I understand that. But it's a totally different set of funds. The state really tries to guide you in which way you can spend that money. Okay, it's not, you know, I hate that had to happen. But last year's budget, before we even had a budget shortfall, these kids were promised this complex. And anybody that knows me, if I say we're gonna do something, I'm gonna push as hard as I can to get it done. And it got put on the back burner because of the budget shortfall. But just as long as everybody understands, those funds are not reoccurring funds. They're not reoccurring funds. So,
And Mr. Lester, the way that I look at it as well is, could we use that $1.X million to Band-Aid a problem, go against what the state of Tennessee recommends us to do, to try to get us by for 1 year, where the next year we're gonna be in even more trouble, we're even gonna have a bigger deficit because we've been spending irresponsibly? Or can we use that to build a facility? You know, Campbell County High School is getting ready to celebrate 50 years. And this facility has an opportunity to be there for 50 years, generations worth of students. And I actually hate that we're calling it a sports complex because it's so much more than that. When you hear sports complex, you think, if it's not the basketball team or football team, this isn't going to matter. Folks, this matters to so many students, to our bands, to all of our athletic programs, to all of our extracurricular programs, to programming at the high school. And I'll be candid, as the board member who has the honor of representing Campbell County High School in the 3rd District, I'm frankly tired of Campbell County losing money every single year to subsidize other parts of our communities. I'm tired of taking away from the kids and us not being able to compete and us not being able to run a 5A program because we're taking millions of dollars away every single year from Campbell County. And I think these students deserve it. I think the administration, the teachers, and the community as a whole deserves this. So I yield.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to say something. As a county commissioner and also an advocate of Campbell County High School, Mr. Miller, you was involved in it, Mr. Fletcher, you was involved in it. It took me 8 years to get a turf field at Campbell County High School. And with the help of Mr. Miller and Mr. Fletcher, it happened. But I had to raise money for 8 years, get in-kind work, monetary donations to make it happen. All right, somebody else wants a turf field, we hand them $1 million. They didn't have to work. I talked to the school board members and told them, hey, here's who you need to contact, here's what you need to do. And none of that was done. It was just hand $1 million. We got 4 times the amount of kids at Campbell County High School. And they want an auxiliary gym so that they can benefit the whole county. And we want to push away from it. Why can't we all just get together and be happy for the whole county? It doesn't have to be this district or that district. Be happy for each other. We're all in the same county. We're here to benefit everybody. Why can't we be happy for each other? It's not, you don't need to be guilty about anything, but these kids, there's kids that just play basketball, there's kids that just play football, there's kids that just play baseball. The band, I mean, those kids, you get an indoor place, if it's raining outside, they can still go in there and practice. All thing you're doing is hurting kids at this point. And you know, if you want to take away from them, I mean, why would somebody want to stay here? If you're not giving the things that succeed in life, why would they want to stay here? Just be happy for everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner. Director?
I will just speak to the adding support staff. Our support staff is paid through federal funds and some is paid through general, but when you add support staff, there is a methodology to that. If you add support staff at one school, you have to change that formula and that methodology, and you have to add support staff at every school. So it's not just as easy as saying, let's add a couple of people at this school or these 2 schools. So that sounds easier said than done, but it has to be approved by the state and federal government, and it's not unless it is changed for every school.
Understood.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll say one other thing. I recently heard somebody say education first. And folks, we would be remiss not to mention that one of the biggest predictors of student success at the high school level is involvement in extracurriculars. Your students that are involved in extracurriculars, from JRTC to band to cheerleading to track and cross country, across the board, statistically speaking, are more likely to graduate, have higher grades, and better attendance than their peers who are not involved in those extracurriculars. We owe it to foster and develop that. When we're talking about education, having a well-rounded education where just test results are incredibly important, but so is job placement, so is learning how to work hard. My entire life, Lieutenant Colonel Knut Salveson is my hero because I learned more in his JRTC extracurricular program than I learned in probably anything. And that, to this day, as a man, that has impacted how I guide and how I live and what I do. And so when we look at education, talking about education first, it's about providing a well-rounded educational experience for our students. And this facility, this complex, is going to let us do that. And again, now I would like to make the motion that we recommend to the full Board of Education to resume the auxiliary gym project.
I'll second.
Gail?
Is that going to with Weeks, Ambrose, and Donald?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Ready?
Cummins,
No.
Lester,
Absolutely.
Johnson,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion passed, you're going forward.
Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
First time. Thank you.